Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fullcolorwaterfowl podcast. On today's episode 104, Recruitment. Why? Recruiting with purpose. Finding the people that you want to recruit because, well, you're going to help mold them along the way to be better hunters all the way around. But first, my sponsor of the program, True Dave Gear. If you're looking for middle-of-the-road, inexpensive waders that hold up, get you out there, keep you dry backpacks, dry boots, dry ankle boots, they got you covered. True Dave Gear, give them a look. I can assure you, you won't be disappointed because, well, I got all sorts of this stuff. And it gets me out there, keeps me warm, keeps me dry, and I kind of love this stuff. So give them a look. So when we talk about recruitment, one of the things that people will point out is the R3 program. R3 program from Delta and other areas, basically getting into your recruitment, reactivation, and retaining hunters along the way. But what does it mean to actually recruit somebody to be, well, a waterfowler for that matter? You see, in my perspective, in my opinion, yes, I always preface it by saying my opinion, we don't need more hunters. We don't. I've talked about that previous. What we do need is hunters that actually know how to not only hunt, not only enjoy hunting, but also respect the game that they pursue, understand it fully, and how to be advocates for the animals that we pursue to keep them, well, able for us to go after. You see, a lot of the recruitment that I see is very simple. Get more people involved. More hunters, more hunters, more hunters. That's not the approach we should be taking with this. If you're just trying to get numbers, it ain't going to work. We already have too many hunters, in my opinion. But of the hunters that we have, how can we mold them and make them better spitting images of what we want hunters to be? That's what we should be asking ourselves. In the last podcast, I talked a lot about the non-hunter perspective, the activist, the ability of our world to ever change and get in the way of ourselves with what we put out there for content on the internet, how we utilize social media as a hunter, and, well, quite honestly, leaving a lot of the hard work up to the nonprofits and the people that, they're getting paid to be in natural resource areas. But when it comes to the hunter, we sit on our hands. A lot of that goes into recruiting, too. Recruiting is more than just getting more people out there. If that's the only stance you take on it, you're doing it shamefully wrong. If you're willing to put the time and effort in to recruit somebody into hunting, it's a process. It should be a process that takes you in a direction of, okay, this person, I need them to be safe first. Safety should always be the number one goal, because you don't want to teach somebody how to hunt, and at the end of the day, you never taught them safety, and then one day you get that call that they didn't make it home. Safety needs to be the first part of that recruitment cycle when you're teaching new hunters. The second part of recruitment should be leaving your ego at the door. You shouldn't be going into teaching a new hunter pile picks and whack and stacks and all this stuff, and oh my God, you have to be all this or you're not shit. There's a lot of that in the waterfowl world. A hunt isn't a hunt unless you're limiting out and all this other aspects of it. You need to be able to teach these kids, or adults for that matter. If you're recruiting a 45-year-old man or a 16-year-old kid, you should be going in it from the same perspective of not every day's a limit. Not every hunt's a banger, air quotes. Teaching them that the grind of waterfowl can be a couple phenomenal days in a row, followed by a week of shit. Yeah, that happens to all of us. And being able to be pushing through the diversity of that and understanding that hunting is hunting just like fishing is fishing. That's why they don't call it just killing. And having them have a full perspective and understanding of the resource that we pursue. One thing we should all be asking ourselves is, how do we get out of our own way? How do we get into the point of the recruitment aspect of a new hunter where we are just going from basics to advanced to having them fully understand the resource, but then on the flip side of that, understanding how they can give back? You see, in a few podcasts back, I talked about my visit to the Capitol and going into that room and being a sportsman and a hunter and advocating for the animals and the natural resources that we have in front of us today. And when I talked about that on the podcast, it was basically geared toward, well, everybody in the room was a gray-haired retired person. The young people just weren't there. And yes, I talked about when I was a young person, I didn't go and do that stuff either. But if we're talking about recruitment and getting people to recruit with purpose and be a person that is getting into hunting and having it be more about not just about the hunting aspect of it, but being an advocate. If you can get kids at a young age, 16, 17, 18, to be able to understand it from the perspective of the laws and legislation and all the other stuff that goes into it, and they're fully invested in it, they're going to stand up more. They're going to go to those meetings. They're going to take the time out of their day to be like, nah, I care about this stuff way too much to let all this slip away. And I was taught the right way how to do this by my mentor, by my dad, by my grandpa, by some random person that I found that was a Delta University Hunt Program person. And, they taught me the right way, and I want to pursue this stuff. I want to stand up for my rights of being able to be a hunter and go at this fully. That's what recruitment should be about. And if you're not doing recruitment that way, and you're just bringing more people into the sport and half-ass showing them how to do it, stay out of that realm. It's not for you. Get your piles, get your birds, do your thing, and leave the recruitment up to people that are going to be putting quality sportsmen on the landscape, not some other dickhead on the internet. We have plenty of them. You see them each and every day. So when you're recruiting a new waterfowler, what's something that you can point them to as a net positive for something that we have going on in the waterfowl world right now? One thing that I point to a lot is, the research. The research that we have now is vastly different than what we had 5-10 years ago. They have things like Cornell University doing their thermal imaging of the United States, showing not only waterfowl birds that are migrating, but also songbirds and everything else that use the Mississippi Flyway to be able to, migrate down. And when that hot spot gets hot, that birds are migrating by the millions. Not just waterfowl, other songbirds and everything else alike. And it gives you a better understanding of when the migration hits, how quickly things can change when you're a duck hunter. You see, if you're paying attention to wind, northwest, 10 mile an hour, getting cold, first cold front, all that kind of stuff, it benefits you as a new waterfowler, seasoned waterfowler, and what have you. Now you piggyback that into Cornell University's thermal stuff, and then you go into other things that we've never seen before. You got the GPS backpacks, you got the geolocators on ducks, and all the other research that goes into how they breed, how they escape predators. All the stuff that is being researched by places like Delta Waterfowl. All those things are key elements that if you show to a new hunter, they can respect it from not just a hunting perspective, but a conservation perspective. Understanding the resource fully and knowing where your dollars go when you put more money back into the resources that you use each and every day when you're a hunter. Understanding that there are nonprofit groups and other agencies out there looking for the best interests of habitat, resources, giving you refuge areas that are mismanaged that we're putting more work into to make them better. So that if you're a new hunter getting into waterfowl, you see all the different elements that are being put into place to try to make things better for you, for everyone involved. Those are the positive things that we should be sharing with each and every hunter that we bring on board and recruit. And we're showing them the ethical, positive ways to do things. Because I know right now, as a person that's been in the waterfowl industry, in the waterfowl hunting realm for the last 15 years, you can tell that a lot of the people that are in it aren't in it for the right reasons. See, a lot of these people are in it just for the social media aspect. The pile pick, throw them in the ditch. We've talked about that stuff before. The negative aspect of it is utilizing a natural resource just to throw it away because you don't fully understand all the benefits to it. So if we're going to recruit new hunters and we're going to retain those new hunters and we're going to want to reactivate old hunters that got into it for a little bit and got out of it because, hunting pressure and what have you and lack of resources aren't there, let's put the things forward to show each and every person that if we all band together as a community, because after all, that's what we say we are, right? If we band together and we do all the things that we should do, that in theory, in turn, should make it better, if we see those results of the work that we put in, we'll have a better understanding of our community as a whole. Understanding that we have refuges that are available for birds, that we don't have to bitch as a group talking about flooded cornfields for rich fuckers. We don't have to deal with that stuff. Why? Because we put in the effort, the time, and the sweat equity to give back. Give back to these areas and make them what we want them to be. And when we do that, we're better as a group altogether. So that's what recruitment should be to each and every one of us. That would be my call to action when it comes to recruiting a new hunter. We don't need another squatted truck llama boy. We don't. Because 90% of them, I'll give them a modest 75%. Don't give a shit about any of this stuff. They want to make the next little funny, silly little TikTok, and that's all it is. But the ones that want to stick with it and want to make it into a community, if we band together, we can do good things, guys. We really can. In utilizing your resources around you to not only recruit the right people to do this stuff, but also being a voice for the ducks, being a voice for these nonprofits and helping them out, and not watching the money go to waste. Physically seeing where it's going and asking the questions, and building a rapport with each and every person around you so that we can become a community again. A community of waterfowlers that goes back into the nostalgia of friends, family, time in the blind with people that you love and care for. Because after all, that's what community should be. So if you're going forward into 2026 and part of your community involvement that you want to get into, if that means recruitment, take a deep look into how you're doing that. Are you just making another hunter to get in the way for others? Or are you actually educating them in a manner that makes them not only a good hunter, understanding the waterfowl and the game that they pursue, but also when faced with diversity and non-hunters and all alike, they know how to handle themselves in a professional manner when that person walks away from that situation. If they don't like hunting, they go, well, I don't really like that stuff, but these people are pretty decent, and I can respect that. If we get to that point of recruitment and getting people out there, we'll change the culture that we have in waterfowl right now. Let's do more of that and less of the latter. Less of the degrading one another, treating animals with disrespect, and all the alike that you see online. Let's get back to the basics of treating each other like humans, giving each other the time of day, and putting hunters out there that do the right thing even if we're not watching. So until the next one, guys, I appreciate you. I really do. Tell you that all the time. Hit that alert button, lets you know when I have new podcasts, and Get yourself out there, and if you're bringing people with you, do your due diligence to make sure that they're the right people that we want to be pushing this sport forward. If they're not, back away and find another person. We all have to have somebody that replaces us in this stuff after we can't do it anymore. So have that person that replaces you be equal to or better than what you left the sport when you got into it. Till the next one, guys, take care. Appreciate you.